this debate with NPA versus Ashok Steel on the motion this House will introduce a three-state solution to Iraq. Let's have the Prime Minister open the case for side government.
Ladies and gentlemen, we see Iraq as only a country on paper and not a country, an official country. We don't see Iraq as a country on paper, but indeed it is not. It has so many divisions in the own country. We see so many separations and hostility in the population in the country. First, we see three types of people predominantly in the country: the Iraqis, the Kurds, and the Baluchi rebels, ladies and gentlemen. So these are three types of people who have completely different ideologies in the country, or who are forced to live together, ladies and gentlemen. And we see this is a really big, huge problem, because you cannot have three people with different ideologies, different interests, and different needs and wants fighting and being extremely violent, living together and forcing them to live together, ladies and gentlemen. And we also see that these people already have their unofficial borders, ladies and gentlemen. So since they've already have their unofficial borders, we see that the only thing we have to do now is to legitimize the borders and give them their own state, so they can rule themselves, ladies and gentlemen. So they can have a leader, and a leader that they prefer, they are in favor of, to lead them, ladies and gentlemen. So that we see that will have more, no thank you sir, that will be more cohesive and they'll be able to lead themselves more, ladies and gentlemen. And we see that by proposing a policy is for the greater good of Iraq, ladies and gentlemen. I'll move on to my case, but I'll be speaking that separation is a natural reaction that is not good for Iraq, and also this removes the reason or the excuse for them to be violent against each other. And also my second speaker, Charlene, will be coming up here, and she'll be talking about the benefits of splitting this up splitting these groups up in Iraq. Firstly, how it benefits Iraq, and secondly, how it benefits neighboring Muslim countries, mainly Turkey, ladies and gentlemen. Now moving on to my first point on why separation is a natural reaction and that it should be encouraged in Iraq, ladies and gentlemen. We see that now in Iraq you have three different types of people: the Iraqis, Kurds, and the Baluchi rebels, who are very hostile against each other. They have completely different ideologies, and now we also see that they raise different flags for each of them as well. So we see that they're already now currently living in different parts of Iraq with different, they already have their borders, they're living in different parts, they raise their own flags, they have different leaders leading them, and now that US comes in and forces them to unify and is forcing democracy on them, it is not agreeing with them, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody is fighting for territory, ladies and gentlemen. Since they don't have a legitimate border securing their territory, they seem to be fighting over territory, ladies and gentlemen. And we say that we cannot allow that, because even though they are very violent, and they might be violent after our policy, we see that we can minimize the amount of how violent they are, and we can actually promote the street-state solution for the country. Yes, Ashok.
But it's only the insurgents who are comprised of small group who engage in such fighting. If you clamp down on them, won't that then reduce the violence that you say is occurring right now?
But even then, we see that these people, clearly want three. Even then, we see that clearly these people want three separate states. The fact that they are already living separately shows that they are not comfortable with each other, shows that they want a three-state solution, ladies and gentlemen. So we see that we should just give it to them to avoid any further problems, or to avoid any current problems we have, such as violence, ladies and gentlemen. And they keep their violence, ladies and gentlemen. And also, we see that by separation is a natural reaction. We see that there is no harm in separation, because we've seen a lot of countries do that and are successful with that, ladies and gentlemen. We see that Israel-Palestine conflict is also a case of this, ladies and gentlemen. That avoiding Palestine in its own country will definitely solve all the problems. And also we see that East Germany and West Germany, they have also splitted, ladies and gentlemen, and they have proven to be a nation. And also conflict in Vietnam, where they split into northern and southern Vietnam, and also Korea. So we've seen a lot of countries do this, ladies and gentlemen. We see no problem in that. And also this, we see no problem in that. And by legitimizing, it's just a matter of legitimizing every border, ladies and gentlemen. We see that this will let the leaders take charge. This will let the leaders take charge and run their own territory, ladies and gentlemen. Once they start running their own territory, their own leader, ladies and gentlemen. And also moving on it removes the reason or the excuse to fight, because now that currently they are fighting because of the territory issues, they have not been given a legitimized border, ladies and gentlemen. So they keep fighting, oh, who gets what. So now that if someone steps in and gives them that, now look, here's your border and you're supposed to stick to it, we believe that this will actually minimize the reason for them to fight over the territory, fight over the border, ladies and gentlemen. So that once it takes away or removes the reason for them to fight, we believe that even the violence will be further reduced, ladies and gentlemen. That the violence will be further reduced. So we see that. So all we need to do now is to draw the borders for them and help them live in a cohesive manner, ladies and gentlemen. Like you would say, for example, you have in a classroom with three different kids fighting at each other. The only same thing a teacher would do is separate them up until they stop fighting, ladies and gentlemen. So we see that we can use the same approach here to the Iraqi issue here. So by trying to unify them, by trying to force democracy on them, will not work, ladies and gentlemen, because they are clearly hostile against each other. They have different ideologies, and they clearly want to be separated, ladies and gentlemen. And we see that will work because other countries have set an example, like Germany and Vietnam and North Korea has worked for them, and we believe that in Iraq it will work. It's for the greater good, ladies and gentlemen. And it's for the greater good, ladies and gentlemen. So what have I shown you today? I've shown you that separation is a natural reaction because that these people have different ideologies, they cannot live together, they will create problem when they live together, and they will create a very utmost level of violence. And it's also to protect the welfare of the people, you have to separate them up, give them their own territories, give them their own borders, let them take charge of their country, ladies and gentlemen. And also, it also removes the reason or the excuse to fight, because currently they're fighting because they need the territory, they need the border. So once you legitimize the border, you take away the reason for them to fight, ladies and gentlemen. And also since there's very unspoken rules that these borders and they're very living separately, it wouldn't be an unfeasible policy to come in place. It wouldn't be an unfeasible thing to do because they're already separated. All you need to do now is to legitimize and give them their own